In musical notation, the duration of a note is expressed by its note value. For example, common note values include the whole note, the half note, the quarter note, and the eighth note. A whole note has a hollow, oval-shaped note head. A half note has a stem attached to it. A quarter note has the note head filled in. An eighth note looks like a quarter note but has a flag or tail attached to its stem. A whole note is equivalent to 2 half notes. That is, a whole note lasts twice as long as a half note. A half note, in turn, is equivalent to 2 quarter notes. A quarter note is equivalent to 2 eighth notes, and an eighth note is equivalent to 2 16th notes. These common notes are also referred to by their traditional names. The whole note is called semibreve. The half note is a minim. The quarter note is called a crotchet, and the eighth note is a quaver. Okay, so far so good. We know that a whole note is longer than a half note, but how long is it exactly? Well, to determine the exact duration of a note, we need to establish a frame of reference. In musical notation, music is divided into segments. These segments are called bars or measures. The length of each bar is indicated by the time signature and tempo. Here we have 2 bars. The time signature is 4/4. 4/4 means that there are 4 beats in every bar, and a quarter note is worth 1 beat. That is, we can fit 4 quarter notes into every bar. Let's say the tempo is 60 beats or 60 quarter notes per minute. This is what it sounds like. The tempo can be adjusted, of course. Let's double it and change it from 60 beats to 120 beats per minute. With the time signature and tempo, we now know how long a quarter note should be, and we can use the duration of the quarter note as a reference for other notes. For example, since a quarter note is equivalent to 1 beat, it means a half note will be equivalent to 2 beats and twice as long. Let's see what it sounds like when we add other notes with different note values. Why don't we remove the 4 quarter notes in the first bar and replace them with a whole note? A whole note is worth 4 beats and therefore equivalent to 4 quarter notes. Now, let's add a half note at the start of bar 2. In order to do so, we have to remove the first 2 quarter notes. Otherwise, there would be too many beats in the bar. Lastly, let's replace the last quarter note with 2 eighth notes. By the way, instead of drawing a flag for each eighth note, we simply connect both notes with a beam. Much easier. Let's listen. Notes can also be tied together to make them longer. For example, we can tie the whole note to the half note. That is, the whole note is now 2 beats longer. Another way to make a note longer is by adding a dot after the note. A dot after a note means that its value is increased by half. In our example, a whole note is worth 4 beats. Half of 4 is 2. So if we add a dot behind a whole note, it becomes 2 beats longer. A half note, in turn, is 2 beats long and would be 1 beat longer if we add a dot. A quarter note is 1 beat and would be half a beat longer. An eighth note is half a beat and would be a quarter of a beat longer. Let's put a dot after this quarter note here to make it half a beat longer. To do so, we must remove the following eighth note to compensate for the extra half beat. Perfect. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe.